bear with me. I want to talk a little bit about Tony, but it's about something a little bit bigger. I don't think all of you will agree with me, but I want to share this perspective because I think it's important. And from my perspective, it is what is happening. All the praise in the world goes to Tony for the game he played this season, Winners at War. Tony was a monster. He just rocked it. You know, one of his comments at the end about, I played twice a day. I played during the day and I played at night when people were sleeping. You know, he really went all out. He focused. He gave it everything he had. He made drastic improvements over the way he played the game initially when he won that time too, much to do with some real luck that happened in that first season. This season, Tony was really in control. Tony was more thoughtful. Tony was more plotted. He planned. He acted at the spur of the moment when he needed to. That on the spot kind of making choices. He made really clear arguments about his position with his alliance mates. He wasn't always convincing, but he was able to share with them afterwards that his logic was right and to convince them to appreciate his thoughts, his gameplay, his consistency. He was stellar in the way he played the game this season. His win coincides with a time in our history and with an approach taken by Probst and Survivor that I find despicable. And it takes nothing away from Tony. I don't want a single thing. I don't want anybody to think that I in any way feel anything other than pride in how Tony played the game. I support it. I love how he did it. I appreciate his moves. It's really spectacular. That said, the image of him with his family at the end, and here's Tony, the white guy with the pretty wife and the beautiful kids, and this is something I think Probst is using as a prop that is very, very unfortunate and off-putting to me. What do I mean? Is it unfortunate that a white guy with a wife and the beautiful kids won the game? No, it's not. But it is. There is this thing that is consistent within those executives behind the scene in Survivor. From Les Moonves, who's been publicly chastised for his horrific behavior, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. There's quite a human being for you in that one. To all those under him who were part of and are part of the legacy of that kind of an environment where power is exploited and there is this racism and homophobia inherent in everything that is done within the organization. And frankly, many of the bigots, many of the power positions in which those people occupying those positions exert this awful kind of exploitive behavior over others aren't even aware that they're doing it. It's just such a natural part of who they are. It's grotesque. There's that word again. I've used it a number of times. And it's kind of obvious to me. And the ways in which Probst particularly reacts to the beautiful family and the win and the comfort he exhibits with what he thinks is the one to represent Survivor is despicable. It's really gross. Tony and his family are gorgeous and amazing, and I love them, and I appreciate every single thing he did. So do not get me wrong. He deserved the win. He earned the win. He is entitled to all the accolades and appreciation from everyone. Probst's exploiting that in ways that undermine the fairness to all is what I'm talking about. It's not something that's easy to express. It's not something that will be easy for many of you to even accept, I don't think, because of the way in which you have a perspective of the world. But if you are open-minded and you think about the ways in which the many of us in this world live differently from one another, there are subtleties and not so subtle ways in which we who are somewhat different from that norm, that perfect picture, get taken advantage of, or worse, abused. And I'm sad to try and communicate how much that is a piece of the puzzle with respect to the survivor executives and to the people behind the scenes who aren't in touch with the ways in which they exploit and abuse participants. This way in which the current winner, White Tony and his beautiful white wife and his gorgeous white children, are going to be exploited by Survivor, and the ways in which Probst himself reacts to who they are, automatically adopts them and uses terminology like what a beautiful representative of the winners they are for our show, etc., is something many of you will have a problem with me pointing out. I accept that. Just try to think of it outside of Tony. Tony's a beautiful guy. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got beautiful children, and more power to him. I embrace them. I love them. I send them all the congratulations in the world and all the happiness in the world. And I want nothing about this to impact their joy and their deserved happiness with respect to having won this tough season. But I'm talking about something bigger and outside of them. I'm talking about the way in which our society rewards a particular look or a particular image, particularly in media, CBS, the executives behind this show, Probst, particularly himself, responds and reacts to this imagery in a way that is disgusting to me. It is distinctly different from the way in which he treats people who don't fit that particular mold that he's looking for, who aren't a part of the imagery that in his mind represents this family-oriented show that he wants to pretend Survivor represents or Survivor is. It's absolute horseshit. And he, Probst himself, and those behind the scenes are part of the problem. They're part of the bigotry, racism, homophobia, etc., without consciously doing what I think is the responsibility of people in power to do. I don't think they have less responsibility. I don't think it's okay for Probst to say, oh, I wasn't aware of being a sexist all these years. Oh, I wasn't aware of the way I blah, blah, blah. And now I'm enlightened. I'm so happy that you've shared with me, Sarah, what harm you've endured. Oh, gosh, isn't that terrible that I was that way? I'm new now. It's crap. He hasn't bought into it. He doesn't understand it yet. He still does it. He is the epitome of the privileged bigot. And I'm so off-put by the way he thinks he's so much more entitled to happiness in life and to a success that is built on the backs and the exploitation and the abuse of participants in this beautiful game of Survivor. We participants come into the show, contracts notwithstanding, naively and open to the opportunity and willing to open ourselves to whatever it takes to enjoy this game and to participate and to win that prize, yes. But we don't have full knowledge of what will be done to us and how we'll be exploited by those in power. Unnecessarily. This is my main point. If this is what somebody needed to do to feed their families or to be successful or to scrape by, it would be one thing. But to abuse people the way they do for nothing more than the thrill of doing it and the greed associated with excess beyond your imagining is despicable. And I don't really care too much about what it is that comes to me as a result of my pointing it out. I'm much more interested in engaging in the conversation around that exploitation and talking with folks about the realness of it and the impact on many, many people's lives and how unnecessary it is. While at the same time, those in power, I believe, have more responsibility, not less, to ensure that there is this fairness and less exploitation of the underprivileged. It's an important issue for me, and I've seen it so closely, so clearly, so firsthand, and I'm unwilling to sit by and watch it go on and continue without talking more about trying to explain what it is and why it's not tolerable. 80% of you who are listening to these videos have not subscribed to my channel. Please subscribe. Just hit the subscription button and hit the notification button and you'll be informed when I have another video up for you to listen to. After you've subscribed, comment. Comment positively. Comment negatively. No holds barred. Just say what you're thinking. That's what will make our exchange even more valuable. As I'm able, I'll create new videos responsive to that commentary. So like away, or dislike, on that rare occasion you may feel the need to do so. But either way, thank you.